I am so excited and honored to be here today with the amazing Autumn Grimm, Chief Revenue Officer of PartnerTap. Autumn, I am so amazed by what you're doing in your company, outside of your company, and the ground that you and your team have been able to cover and the impact that you are having on other companies. Thank you so much for spending some time here today.
Thank you, Sheryl. It is just an honor to be on your podcast and to spend time with you. I am such a fan of the podcast itself and your work and the conversations we have. So this makes my day.
Oh, you are too kind. And I am super excited to talk to you about how how PartnerTap is helping companies to leverage their partner ecosystem. And I'm going to go ahead and show the banner there so they know a little bit more about PartnerTap. And so before we jump into that, because we're heading into, let's say, an interesting economy, we're heading into an election, and we have a choice. And the choice is to look at it, like with the deer in headlights and being like, oh gosh, what is this going to mean for my partner ecosystem? Is it drying up? And we can go into panic mode, or we can look at it as an amazing opportunity. And for those of us who choose to look at this as an amazing opportunity, I think PartnerTap is just going to be the rocket fuel that companies are going to need. And it's already been proven with Hewlett Packard and, so many others. But before we jump into that, I would love to know, what or who inspired you to greatness as a young person? Because you are building such an amazing company, but you're also building an amazing community. And I have to think that there was someone that sparked your first imagination as a young person.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate to have amazing women in my life who I grew up around, who were entrepreneurs and sole proprietors and just leaders in their community. And it really gave me the inspiration to dream big. And one of those women was my aunt, Dr. Minga Guerrero, who was the first female chiropractor that was a Latina on the West Coast. So if you think about how many chiropractors there are in the United States today, she was a pioneer. And growing up, I always saw this amazing, strong, just powerhouse show up, not only in family gatherings, but in any professional setting that I saw her in. And also, I got to hear her speak Spanish and just
Mhm.
see her walk into a room that not only was predominantly men, but a predominantly white male room. And she was not only just a part of the room, she was always usually leading the rooms that she was in. And so, that really gave me this concept and context of looking into a mirror and thinking, okay, we could be that. We could go on and become something really big if we wanted to. So, it all boils down to, they say representation matters. It's true. It really does. So, but I was really lucky. And I don't think everybody has that. And so for me, I'm always very grateful for those opportunities that I had early on.
Yeah, and that is so, so very important. And if you're listening and thinking, gosh, I did not have an auntie or a woman in my life who was a pioneer, because we were talking about earlier, I did not. Actually, the women in my family, their voices were actually diminished, but, then put a stake in the ground and make sure that that did not happen, to others. And so if you're listening and maybe you are in reflection of somebody amazing you do have in your family, but maybe you're thinking you don't have that amazing auntie or sister or mother, then you can also draw from how do you want to make it better for someone coming behind you and be that example for the next person. So I really love that example. And so I look at all of the amazing things that you've done, and when we met at Women of the Channel in Palm Springs, and then I saw your partner tap leaders as a speaker in Women of the Town, New York City. Just what you've created is so very special and incredible. Is there, what is the mindset? You started PartnerTap started in 2016, is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so I imagine that, the highs are really high, but, with any business, there's lows too. And so, what is the mindset that keeps you on this fierce path moving forward?
Well, for me, I think a lot of it has to do with um, feeling all the feels, if that makes
Mhm,
sense. You can't protect yourself from having negative thoughts or finding downtime, or times where it just kind of you feel like the wind gets knocked out of your sails. But a really wise person once told me that you have to go through emotions, and not to suppress them, but to like face them head on and to pass through them so that your brain doesn't naturally create a loop, where it's trying to process the emotion. And so anytime I feel defeat, I feel it for a minute and I let it sit for a minute with me, but I don't let it fester. And so I really practice a lot of mental mindset tricks like meditation and journaling. And it's not a lot. And I wish I could say that consistently I was this habitual creature that rose every morning at the same time and did it perfectly. I don't. It's a work in progress. But I find that when I do it, it helps me. And the other part of that, on the other side of that, is faking it till you feel it. So keep on putting those emotional or those processes in place, so that if you do hit a low, you can always hit the highs, and faking it till you feel it makes your game face is ready. High.
mhm. Yeah, that is such great advice. And I don't know, is that I was the wise person that shared that with you, but I do talk about it a lot and honoring, you're spot on with honoring those emotions and feeling them and moving, then moving forward. And so when it comes to
You are
what,
always a good person, Cheryl.
I don't know, you are too kind. I'm sure there's so many wise people in your, speaking of ecosystems, I'm feel grateful to be a part of it. But when you are thinking of, what is, if you were to boil it down to one word, whether it's, trying to grow a business, or maybe we're in a career, or is unfortunately a lot of people are experienced, maybe they're now not in a career and they're looking to get back into a career. What is the one word that you might boil it down to that's really helped you keep moving forward?
I think it's self-worth.
Mhm,
So, and we were just having this
mhm,
conversation about worthy. I think you were telling me about, a podcast, a person that was
mhm,
on your podcast before, and then a book that recently came out that she wrote, and then another book with the same namesake, Worthy.
mhm,
Women, today's woman, businesswoman, is always preparing herself to be confident when she walks in a room. And the one thing that, we have to remind ourselves to do, and I do try to look myself in the mirror literally and tell myself that I'm worthy for every room that I go into. Um, I think the one word is self-worth.
mhm,
We can help each other in that. Um, Not just by preparing the room for each other, by also when we're in the room by supporting each other. And that's the whole genesis of the Fempire, the movement that we
mhm,
created alongside our software company. Um, Influencing the flow of capital into the hands of women isn't just a pipe dream anymore. It's a reality. We have people
mhm,
come up to us and talk about how they've been able to get their biggest deals during the Fempire. And
mhm,
to me, I think that is like we're creating a room where women are worthy of being in there, but also we're creating a room that just spills out to the rest of
mhm,
the business community. And we're worthy of every room we go into, but in the Fempire, we're definitely
mhm.
definitely worthy of that room.
Yeah, and speaking of worthy, in New York City, Cassandra was your CEO was talking about creating billions, and
I love that.
she had such powered emotion behind it. She wasn't like just like we were going to do it. She kind of imbued being worthy. And so I think it's really contagious. And I love the Fempire community. I'm so honored to whenever I'm able to be a part of it. And
You see
so,
why? Do you see why she's my business partner? Why I've
yeah,
followed her for as long as I have? She's
I
incredible.
know. I just came out of that going, billions, billions. But
She called me and she's like, "You would not believe the event. You would not believe it." I unfortunately couldn't be there, but she was telling me about it, and I was like, "Okay, this
yeah.
is really cool."
Yeah, no, it was super. And so when it comes to PartnerTap, can obviously we know generally what it is, driving more revenue with your partners. It sounds simple enough, but clearly it's not simple because no one else has done what you're doing before. So can you share, two or three bullet points
Mhm.
about, what PartnerTap is doing and why it's so crucial right now?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Right now, organizations are really struggling. The landscape of buying has really changed a ton for these organizations that used to go to market in traditional ways where they either spun up a channel or they went to market with a direct sales team. And the buyers are becoming more sophisticated and they're seeking new routes to market. And what that's doing to organizations is having them that are selling goods and services on the cloud, they're having to take a deep look at how they leverage their ecosystems. And, for our customers, they're leveraging our services and our people and our technology, our platform to really drive their co-sell engines. So, I think one of our customers recently, a channel chief at AT&T, he actually talked about, he made the analogy of riding a bull. He said
Mhm.
that building a channel in today's economy is like trying to stay on a bull for 8 seconds. You're just basically holding on for dear life. And he said that once you have PartnerTap in place, it's like you're driving the bull. So what I took away from that, other than it being a really cool soundbite,
Mhm.
is that we are at this point where co-sell is becoming the predominant route to market. And PartnerTap really is the organization that enterprise companies come to drive their growth model around their co-sell motion. And we do that, like I said, with a combination of people and technology. And our customers are seeing results, and that's why they're on stage talking about us. So it's a super exciting time to be in, in our business.
Yeah, sounds like it. And then what's the one, let's just say we don't adapt. And we all know that that can, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, but I can. But we know in business that, if we don't adapt, then it's kind of like being out in nature. You don't adapt to the climate, you don't survive. And so, what is the main consequence of not adapting to this co-sell climate and for people that maybe decided not to use PartnerTap?
Hmm. Well, it's interesting. I don't want to be so bold as to say that they're going to die. That's crazy, right? But what I would say is that it's a story about have and have not. We accelerate the organization's ability to leverage their ecosystem. And if you think about in the terms of competitive advantage, we really give our customers a competitive advantage. If you're only leveraging your sales force today effectively, then you're only reaching the market with potentially half of the sales force that you have. If you're leveraging your partners, then you're creating a force multiple effect. The challenge is these are different companies. They operate differently. They have different mission, vision, and value. And so the trick is, how do you get organizations pulling together around the same targets in the same method, in the same approach? Well, to do that, you really need a solution that combines the efforts of you and your partners as if you're one. So you're really
Mhm.
driving to one beat and one motion. And the other part of that, Jay McBain got on stage recently and he talked about how the new way of thinking about your partners isn't about the attribution coming at the point of sale, but to think about your partners adding value throughout the entire duration, cradle to grave, of a new engagement or an existing engagement with a customer. And so having technology that can measure, manage, and manipulate the experience that your sellers and your partners are having, and track that and be able to report it back to the business, so that the C-suite can tell the board why you have this effective co-sell solution. It's critical because it's becoming a subject of, when you go into the boardroom and you're asking for more revenue to support your partner channel, it's really hard to do that if you don't have the KPIs to substantiate why you need 40,000 for this partner and 50,000 for this partner, especially when budgets are shrinking and organizations are looking at immediate results as a barometer to dictate investment. So that's why when companies bring in PartnerTap, it brings fast ROI and it brings a massive return. And so organizations can leverage that to continue investment in their co-sell motions, which have the best return.
Yeah, and that just seems to make a lot of sense. And I love the example of Jay McBain because, I don't want to say you're hearing from the horse's mouth, but that's a lot of research, a lot of experience, and a lot of success. And that comment really means a lot. And so that's amazing to take what he said to face value and then also have such a proven process and solution to help. And so, what is a way that if somebody's listening and they're like, why haven't I heard about PartnerTap until now? What is the best way? Who should they get a hold of? Should they get a hold of you? What should they do?
Absolutely get a hold of me. I'm not shy.
Mhm.
They can reach out to me. They can reach out to any of our sellers. They can go on to partnertap.com. They can reach out and speak with one of our partners at Spur Reply, Achieve Unite, JSG Group. We also had a great podcast that I'm going to publish some of the statistics and data that came from that with Maria Chin at Forrester. So she also had some great speaking points around why it makes sense to put a solution in place like PartnerTap. So keep your eyes open for that. I'll also post some data out of that podcast as well.
Yes, we love data. So we can't wait to see that. So, Autumn Grimm, you are very prolific on LinkedIn. So that's another good way to connect with you and also on the PartnerTap website. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm super excited for you and everyone at PartnerTap. And I look forward to following your journey.
Thank you, Sheryl.